morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Bellevue. This is the place where we know and we practice the spiritual truth that something wonderful is happening all the time. Even in the midst of what might seem like the dark places, we can find the beauty of life and the perfection and the wholeness of life because we know the spiritual truth that God is good and all is well. And we come together in spiritual community every week and through classes and all the other activities we do, small groups, other leadership teams. We come together on a regular basis so that we can support one another in remembering and applying the spiritual principles of truth in our daily lives. I'm Reverend Marla Mason. It is my pleasure and my privilege to serve as your minister this morning and every day of my life. So thank you for joining us. Welcome to Unity. I have a couple of things to say to you as we prepare to open. Sorry. First off, know that I have been not feeling well this week. And so I'm not at 100% capacity right now. God as me, God through me is what I'm looking for. So what I want to start with is letting you know that way back on June 30th, Governor Inslee here in Washington State lifted all COVID restrictions, and your Board of Trustees made the decision that we would open 6 weeks after that thing happened. And so when that happened on June 30, we set an August 15th opening date for our building, keeping in mind that we have never been closed, right? Unity of Bellevue has never been closed. We have been open, we have been online for the last 19 months. So our intention was to open our building on August 15th, and we are not going to do that. We are not going to do that because King County right now is a hotspot for the Delta variant, and because it feels as though it would not be responsible for us to facilitate the coming together of groups of people. As a spiritual center, we have a responsibility to you, our people, to ensure that we're providing a safe environment for you. And right now, we're not 100% sure that we can do that. And so we are going to postpone the opening of our building for at least another month, tentatively maybe September 19th, but know that maybe not even then. We're going to watch what's happening. We're going to pay attention to the CDC. We're going to pay attention to the guidance of healthcare professionals and those who understand epidemiology at a deeper level than we do. And so tentatively, maybe September 19th, but don't put that in your back pocket like it's a done deal. Know that we're just going to continue to pray and know the truth and to breathe into what is the most responsible way for us to be in spiritual community together right now. So I wanted to let you know that up front. No building next week. And my apologies for that. I feel really sad about that, but I also feel really clear that it's the right thing to do. And that right now we're being called a lot to be in the presence of, what doesn't feel like what I want, but it is what is. And so, we can take some spiritual wisdom from that. Like, how do we be in the presence of the thing that we don't appreciate that much and use this as an opportunity to learn and grow? So we're learning and growing. Here at Unity, we're just continuing to learn and grow. So I wanted to let you know that. I also want to let you know that there are lots of folks who help us engage in this service every Sunday morning and folks who keep it going all week long. And so I want to first give thanks today to our meditation facilitator, Lynn Zeller. You were amazing and beautiful and awesome. It was a great service for me. It was just what I needed. Thank you, Lynn. Lynn is one of our prayer chaplains, and she is joined in her prayer chaplaincy this morning by Jennifer Holt. After the service, Lynn and Jennifer will be available to you to pray with you. And you can also submit a prayer request. And sorry, I'm running out of air. You can submit a prayer request, and they will see to it that your prayer request not only gets prayed on around here, but they also get sent on to the Unity Ministry of Prayer. So secondly, our board host today is Sharon Wolf. Thank you, Sharon. You're going to hear a little bit more from Sharon later. And Monica McDowell Elvig, give them all a wave. She is the woman who holds it down, not just on Sunday mornings, but she holds it down for me all week long. So thank you, Monica, for being our producer and for being our center administrator. I am forever grateful to you. I also want to welcome a special guest this morning, Reverend Sally Robbins. Give her some love. She's from the East Coast, North Carolina, And she is a dear friend and colleague of mine. And she is the kind of dear friend and colleague that I could call on a Saturday and say, you know what, I'm sick and I don't know that I can pull off, you know, a Sunday message tomorrow. Can you step in for me? And she, of course, said, yeah, she's able to do that. So welcome, Reverend Sally. She's a powerful preacher. She's a powerful woman. And she brings a ton of consciousness to our spiritual experience this morning. So you're going to hear more from her later as well. Our guest artist this morning is also a virtual guest artist. Laura Berman has sent us a series of videos that you are going to be thrilled to see. She's such a light. She's such a powerhouse. Go buy all of her CDs because we want to support her in making her living as a musician. Laura Berman has some music for us this morning.
Oh, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I will be living sanctuary for you. Oh, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I will be living sanctuary for you. Oh, and I am your sanctuary. I am yours. And I am your sanctuary. I am yours. Oh, I am yours. I am yours. Oh, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, holy. I am tried and true. Oh, with thanksgiving, I'll be living, living sanctuary for you, for you. Oh, well, and I am your sanctuary. I am yours. Oh, and I am your sanctuary. I am yours, and I am your sanctuary. I am yours. I am yours. I am yours. So prepare me to to be your sanctuary. I am pure, I am holy, always tried and true. With thanksgiving, I will be living. I am a living sanctuary for you. With thanksgiving, I will be living sanctuary for you.
And so we take this opportunity to recognize and to remember the spiritual truth of our oneness with the infinite, that we are indeed a sanctuary for this living one. We are a sanctuary, the temple, the sacred place of the Most High, the sacred place where spirit expresses so beautifully and so perfectly here on planet Earth. This is the truth of us, and I know that we live and move and breathe and have our being centered in this essence, and we remember and we know this every moment of our lives. And so it's with a grateful heart that I simply know and I declare that each one of us is primed today for this message, for this deep experience of spiritual community, that our hearts and minds are open, that we stand in sanctuary for the divine ideas that are being put forth here today. We are receptive, we are participative, and our hearts are transformed. Our minds are renewed. We leave this place changed. And so I simply declare a blessing on this time together today. I give thanks for those who have kept the divine appointment, who have showed up willing, who have showed up willing. I give thanks for those who have said yes. And I consecrate this time to the good work of the infinite mind and heart of God. And so it is. Amen. Our affirmation this month, our theme all month long, we are talking about what do we stand for? Who are we? What do we teach? What is unity really about? And so our affirmation this month is anchoring us in principle 1, unity principle number 1. I'm going to read through it once, and I invite you to just take a receptive pose, hear these words as though they were already true for you, because they are. I live, move, and have my being in the powerful presence of the living one. Wholeness, beauty, and grace effortlessly express in my life as I say yes to the divine flow of this presence as me. And so it is. Breathing that in and owning it, accepting it. And I invite you now to join me as I read through this again, to speak these words aloud. For the word spoken is the word done. Speak these words aloud with me and with conviction. I live, move, and have my being in the powerful presence of the living one. Wholeness, beauty, and grace effortlessly express in my life as I say yes to the divine flow of this presence as me. And so it is.
Living large in a tiny square, broken pieces seem to lead nowhere. Why do I feel that my life is just pretend? All my dreams stay way too small. They lead me back to where I started from. How can I move when I fear what lies ahead? There's more than what I see. Each step brings me closer to free. I I realize there are no walls in between you and me and this holy word. You and me and this holy word. And I realize now, and with each new day I see my life getting bigger with less denying. It's my choice now to leave or just give in. And every morning I give thanks, amen, to all the growth I've experienced. And I've become a dream that's worth believing in. There's more than what I see. There's more. Each step brings me closer to me. Oh, I realize it's all inside of me. I realize there are no walls in between you and me and this holy word. No walls in between you and me and this holy word. Well, it's a long road, but one I choose to travel through this lifetime. And I'm learning what not to do. Believe me. Well, there's more than what you see. Yes, I realize it's all inside of me. I realize there are no walls in between. No, I realize it's all inside of me. Yeah, I realize there are no walls in between you and me and this holy word. No walls in between you and me and this holy word. There are no walls in between you and me and this holy word. There are no walls in between you and me and this holy word. No walls. There are no walls in between you and me and this holy word. No walls between you and me and this holy word. There are no walls. 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 I know no walls. I know no walls between you and me and this holy word. There are no walls in between you and me. No walls. There are no walls between you and me and this holy word. No walls. I know no walls. I know no walls between you and me, you and me, you and me, and there's a holy word. Oh, there are no walls in between you and me and this holy word. I realize now.
Good morning. Good morning, Unity of Bellevue. Oh my goodness, what a pleasure it is to return back to you. I got the call for yesterday from Reverend Marla, and she said, you know, the topic that I've chosen is our commitment greater than our resistance? Can you fill in? Do you have something that maybe would fit? And I went, yes, yes, because probably the number one question any minister or any prayer partner ever gets is, I've been intending, I've been affirming, I've been praying, I've been doing everything I thought I could do. Why isn't it showing up in my life? And the answer is maybe there's some resistance, maybe there's a misbelief in there. So I've got a couple of stories that I want to share with you that really underscore how we think we can be doing everything correctly, and sometimes it's just a shift, just a minor shift that can happen that can make a huge difference in how we manifest. So I'm going to start with a story. When I was in first grade, so I was 6, 7, whatever, however old you are when you start first grade, and I was going into the elementary school. Now, back in my day, way back, elementary school was 1st through 6th grade. And so there were lots of kids there. There were all ages, obviously, and in all the grades. And so when we went out onto the playground for recess, we were all together. And so I go out there and I'm playing with my friends, and there was a bully who was much older than me and much bigger than me. I was always the tallest one in the class, but I was in first grade and he was clearly in 5th or 6th grade. And for whatever reason, he decided to pick on me. So he's calling me names and he's doing things that just aren't nice. And he really intimidated me, and I was not prepared for this. I had never experienced anything like this before. So I went over to the teacher who was overseeing the playground, and I stood next to her. And of course, he saw her and he's like, well, I can't do anything to her now. And so that became my pattern, that instead of going out into the playground with my friends, I would immediately go over to the teacher because he was always going to come after me. And one day, I don't know what happened, but one day I said, enough, I'm done with this. And so I continued on to play with my friends, and he saw that I wasn't next to the teacher any longer. So he came over and he started to pick on me again. And I drew myself up to full height, which was still nowhere near how tall he was. And I drew myself up to full height and I looked up at him, and I just had this determined look on my face. He immediately backed off, and I never heard from him again. And in that instant, I assumed my power. And that was a wonderful life lesson for me to get at a very young age. And so I realized in that moment there that I had been seeking outside. Now, consciously, I don't think I knew this quite yet. But what I was doing was I was seeking a power outside of myself to protect myself. And in that moment, I decided I was enough, that I had the power within me to handle whatever came my way. And I was going to face whatever he brought at me. I was ready to face it. And when I look at that now, I think, wow, I'm so glad I had that presence, that consciousness in that moment at a very young age, because instead of looking to the teacher to be the law, I assumed my own spiritual authority, and I was using my own spiritual authority, I became a law unto myself. And so when we get to that place, when we come from that place of deep power, knowing that the empowered being within us is the only law we will ever need, that assumes such authority that the way is cleared for everything else in our life. Doors open that you never thought would be open before. Rocks that were in your path are suddenly removed. And so when we step into our power, when we know that we have a commitment to ourselves and to taking on that authority, the resistance that's there just dissipates back into the nothingness from which it came. Now, metaphorically, I could still be standing next to that teacher. Do you get what I'm saying here? That each one of us, and there's still times in my life when I find something outside of me that I feel has to be my law. But when I do, it is my work. It is my inner work then to take that on and say, this is simply life feeding back to me that my life isn't working, that I'm looking outside of myself for my power. And where must I assume that power and recreate the belief that was in there that started this problem in the first place? One of the things that I love about New Thought, that we in Unity are doing, is that we're co-creating with that power within us. I'm going to share my screen, and one of my favorite quotes comes from Dr. Ernest Holmes, who was a contemporary of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, and he says, "The greatest gift life could have made to you is yourself. You are a spontaneous, self-choosing," that's the key word, self-choosing center in life. In the great drama of being, the great joy of becoming, the certainty of eternal expansion, you could not ask for more, and more could not have been given. So he says the certainty of eternal expansion, not, well, maybe if you pray hard enough or you think about this hard enough. No, there's a certainty that you will expand. You can delay it. It's going to happen though. And so when we assume our spiritual authority, when we step into that power, with the resistance that is there is no longer given the power that it was before. And so when we take that power, when we assume that we are the co-creative process in our life, and that we are here to expand forever, Ernest Holmes calls that the divine urge that is always spiraling upward. When we move into that place, there is nothing that can stop us, absolutely nothing. So I'm going to ask you this week to think about this. Who or what is your teacher, the you have created outside of yourself? What power have you given away to an authority? Could it be a spouse? Could it be an employer? Could it be the government? Could it be an institution? Whatever it is, this is simply your recognition to call that power back and to reintegrate into the deep knowingness that you are not only enough, but you have the power to co-create and expand your horizons. One of my favorite teachers always said, don't let your good get in the way of your better, because too many times I have settled for the good when my co-creative power wanted me to move on into something better. So I know that you and I have a distinct opportunity each and every moment of every day to assume that this power is here for our good. You know the word paranoia, which means that we're always thinking someone's out to get us. There actually is a reverse of that. It's called pronoia. And pronoia says the universe is always responding and supporting you. And when you come from that place, isn't it amazing that we know about paranoia, but very few of us know about pronoia? That says a lot about our culture. But when I think about how pronoia says, not only am I fully and lovingly supported by this universe and by spirit, but that I'm outrageously supported, that everything that I could ever imagine and beyond is mine as a resource. It's flowing to me and through me, and I'm the only vehicle that's stopping that. Is my commitment to my spiritual growth my number one priority? You know, growing your consciousness is not a part-time job. It is something that we must be doing on a regular basis. And if we do it part-time, we get part-time results, right? So if we've taken on, and I think everyone within the sound of my voice, everyone who is watching this, whether it's live or at a later date, when you are recognizing that you have taken on the role of a fully empowered spiritual being, that means constantly receiving life's feedback and going, I got to work on this. This is something that isn't working in my life, and I have the power to change it and to choose again. I've been working with these principles for over 50 years, and they're always fresh. That's what amazes me, is they're always fresh and new, because I'm always at a new place. What's that old phrase? You can't step into the same river twice, because I'm always on my growing edge. That's my intention anyway, to always live and stay right on my growing edge, which means I'm constantly challenging myself that if something in my life isn't working, what is it that I need to take a look at? I take full responsibility for that. And we all know as spiritual beings that the law, that how the outcome of our life is acting always on our belief. And so I found a wonderful story that really brought that home to me. We've all seen watermelons, especially this time of year, right? Watermelons, they're usually either giant round, or they could even be oblong, but they're pretty bulky items. And one of the things that's always been a problem for farmers to get it from the farm to your table is that because they're oblong and round, they don't travel as well. And so there's breakage sometimes when they're getting it to the stores. And so the farmers in Japan decided there must be a better way, must be an easier way for us to get our watermelons from our farms out to the table. And so what they did was they decided they were going to reinvent the watermelon. Let me show you a picture of what I'm talking about here. They decided they wanted to create square watermelons. Now you see the product is over on the left, but this is how they did it over on the right. You see that box, that green box? That's a plexiglass box that they would put over the plant when the plant was very young. So as the watermelon was growing and the tendrils could come out of the top, as the watermelon was growing, it only could take the square shape. And so what was designed to be this round or oblong item now had a box around it that conformed it to a different shape. And the result is great, because now look how easily they stack. Look how they're able to line up really easily. I have no idea how they taste, but the farmers really came up with some creativity here. But when I saw this, I thought, how many times have I asked for something in my life and something different shows up, and I start blaming the thing rather than the box I created around it? Are you with me on this? And so every time I'm setting my intention and I'm saying I'm committed to this, what I have to really take a look at is there a box that I have created around this that is really resisting what my commitment is? I have blamed the watermelon so many times in my life because I have been certain that I was doing everything I needed to be doing, and yet the last thing I was looking at was the stinking thinking that created the box that allowed something else to show up. And so I know that every time I think it's working and then it doesn't work, it still is working. Does that make sense? It's still working. And so Ernest Holmes, in the Science of Mind textbook, he talks about that quite a bit. And I'm going to share another tidbit from him that really encapsulates this well. He says, if we believe that it will not work, it really works by appearing to not work. When we believe that it cannot and will not, then according to the principle, it does not. But when it does not, it still does. Only it does according to our belief that it will not. Sounds like a roundabout here with who's on first. But what he's saying here is, when we think it doesn't work, it's really working. We have to go deeper and find out what that causation is that is causing that. He goes on to say this: this is our own punishment through the law of cause and effect. We do not enter in because of our doubts and fears. It is not a punishment imposed upon us by the Spirit of God, but an automatic result of failing constructively to use the law of God. Whew, let's take a breath after that. That's huge, huge. And so when we really understand that we're not being punished by anything, it's simply the law of cause and effect at work here. That if I have a box around what I hope to create, and it's my own thinking that is causing something else to show up in my life, it's not God that's punishing me. It's not spirit. It's not anything else at work except my own limited beliefs. And as soon as I change that, as soon as I move to a place of a deeper understanding and saying, wait a minute, if this really is the law of cause and effect, then I get to choose again. We are empowered beyond belief, beyond belief. And so I get to shift, completely shift to a whole new level of understanding. This is the work of consciousness. It's not enough just to say nice things, write affirmations. This is the deep work that is required of us. And too many times I've had people come and say to me, well, I'm doing the prayer work. I've written all these affirmations. That's wonderful. But are you going deeper to find out what cause might be there that is not in alignment with your intention? Because if our resistance is higher than our commitment, it doesn't matter what we say. It doesn't matter. It matters what the belief is, because the law is always acting upon our beliefs. So you and I really have an opportunity every day. Life is a constant feedback mechanism so that we understand exactly what we're thinking, because we can see what shows up in our life. Oh, a bully showed up. I guess there's some real work that's needed here on my part for me to understand my own true power and that I should not be giving it away. That's all this is. Don't have to make it personal. It's not that guy's issue. It's my issue that I get to work with day in, day out. I saw Mike Dooley do a presentation several years ago. Now, if you don't know Mike, he's the one at tuck.com, and he's written many wonderful books, but he has over 1 million email subscribers that he sends an email out to every morning called Thoughts from the Universe. And they're always wonderful, uplifting, empowering ideas. And so he was doing this presentation, and somebody at the end of the presentation stood up and asked him a question. And they said, Mike, these are wonderful ideas, and I love getting your expressions every morning, and it's great, but do you have anything that's more advanced than the law of cause and effect? And Mike Dooley, without a hint of hesitation, said, there's nothing more advanced than the law of cause and effect. And he's right. There's nothing more advanced than that. That is the core level of what we operate from. And that if something, an effect is showing up in my life, I get to look at it and go, wonder what caused that. No blame or shame here. How can I now shift to a complete understanding that I am coming from an empowered place? I'm co-creating with the spirit within me that always wants my highest and best. And I can move to a place of crystallizing the idea to such a complete certainty that no resistance could ever move me off center. That's where I want to live. Do you? That's where I want to do. That's where the juice is. And so I loved his answer that there's nothing higher than cause and effect. That's always where we get to come back to again and again. That, the basics, if we just covered the basics every year of our lives, that's all we'd ever need to do, because they're so deep and you're always at a different place, modeling them, trying them out, proving them to yourself. Manifestation is going to be your effect from whatever cause you have put out there. And that's the beauty of this, that I know that law of cause and effect also says that as I put out is what comes back to me. So there's no love is ever wasted, no kindness is ever wasted, no compassion, no empathy. All of that it's always fuel in motion, moving out into the good, and it's always coming back. The law of circulation, another law there. It's always coming back to me. May not be tomorrow, but it's always in movement, and I'm responsible for what I put out. And that's what comes back to me again and again and again. You know, a year ago, I was writing my personal life plan. I have this, it's a 10-page document that has all my intentions in it. And I was rewriting it last July. And there's one of the intentions was, I want to be married to my perfect right partner. And I update those intentions every quarter. And so I was rewriting them and looking at them. And one of the intentions also have action items assigned to each one of them, because you can't just think about it or talk about it. You got to do something about it. And so one of the action items on that intention was to go out on a date by X date. And it was always a couple months in advance. And what I realized a year ago when I was rewriting this intention was that every year, or every quarter, every quarter when I wrote this, I still hadn't gone out on a date, and I kept moving that date out. And I realized, something's out of integrity here with me. I'm out of integrity because I make a commitment to myself that I'm going to do something and that I don't follow through. So either I have two choices here. Either I let go of this intention and say, you know what, that's not an intention of mine. Maybe someday it'll happen, but I'm not going to make it an intention because I'm not serious about it. Or number two, I'm actually going to do something about it. I'm going to go on a date. I'm going to make that happen. Well, that scared the you know what out of me. But I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. And so I started looking at online dating, which I had never done before, and was completely terrified of it, completely terrified. Something kept telling me, well, check out eHarmony. I checked out several different ones, and I finally decided, okay, I'm going to do eHarmony. Was still terrified. It took me days to even look at matches because I was so afraid. And I finally went on and decided to reach out to a couple matches, and two of them came back and said, we don't want to hear from you again. But it was nicer than that, but not much nicer. But it was really surprising to me. It came back very quickly, and I thought, okay, well, that didn't work. And the rest of them never even responded. And I thought, wow, okay, this isn't working. Maybe online dating isn't for me. That's my first thought, right? And then I dug deeper. I went, wait a minute, there's something else going on here. Because here's what I know, and I'll share another slide with you, that every time I'm growing, every time I'm moving to a place where I'm accepting responsibility for my growth, this is what I have to do. And growth requires the courage to let go of our certainties. That's just all there is. And there were certainties that I had, and I'm going to get real personal here, because the certainty that I had in that moment was, no one will date me because of the size that I am, because I'm a larger woman. And that was my certainty. And I realized I have to let that go, that I'm perfect just the way I am. And I had to do some real serious work on that. So that was my inner work to do. And you may not have anything as visible as a weight issue, but you may have something that you're certain of. Well, I can't have this until I get this done, or until I do this, or something happens. What is your issue? What is your certainty that is causing that resistance from your commitment coming through? And so this is the work that we get called to continuously. And that was my work. And I said to my friends, you know what, even if no one ever, reaches out to me on eHarmony, the whole idea that I put myself out there, I followed through on my commitment, I did what I said what I was going to do, I was integrity, and the rest is up to spirit. I did what I needed to do, and until I'm intuitively led to do something else, I'm okay. I'm okay just the way I am. And when I did that, all of a sudden that small shift happened. And as I did that, something palpable was happening in my life. And that the night that I told my friends that, I thought, I'm just going to log on to eHarmony one more time. And as I logged on, there was a message from a guy named Bob who reached out to me, which was later he said to me, he said, I never do that. He said, to this day, I don't know why I reached out to you. And so Bob reached out to me. We started online chatting, and then we started talking on the phone. We were inseparable almost immediately. And he lived in Indianapolis. I live in Asheville, North Carolina. So that was an issue right there. But we decided, you know what? We're going to make this work. And so I went up to Indianapolis and spent a weekend with him and got to meet him and part of his family. And here's a picture that we took that weekend while I was up there. And we just knew instantly that this was something that was going to last forever. And frankly, once you've been around the block a time or two, you don't have to waste any more time. And so Bob and I just decided, you know what, this is it. He moved down here to Asheville within days of me coming back from Indianapolis. And he proposed to me a few days later, and we got married November 1st of last year. So we're coming up on our year anniversary. We didn't even know each other till August 18th of last year. So we're almost at our 1-year anniversary. But this was such a manifestation of me getting fully committed to an idea and then finding out what was the resistance that I had to release. What was the certainty that I had to let go of before I could move to that higher level of manifestation in my life? And let me tell you, if you think that love has passed you by, I'm 63 years old now. If you think love has passed you by because you're too old, ban that thought. That's a certainty you need to let go of right now. This is the best love I have ever experienced in my life. It is the most comprehensive, the most soul-filling, the most nurturing relationship I've ever had. This can be your day to manifest something incredible in your life if you simply let go of the resistance. And so I know that you and I can create our own new life plan. As a matter of fact, my life plan now has a whole new intention to create a conscious, intentional marriage because I got married. So, and that happened during COVID too. We didn't have a normal, we got married in front of another minister on a mountaintop because we couldn't invite people. It doesn't matter. Spirit makes the way possible. And so I invite you this week, what is it that you are certain of that you need to let go of? How can you remove that blockage from your manifesting your good? Your better is right there, just waiting for you. I know that all the wonderful things that you are here to do start with your conscious thought. That's it. It starts with your conscious thought. Choose the good ones, as Mike Dooley would say. Choose the good ones. Let's take that into prayer. Let's take a deep breath. We've just processed a lot here. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Father, Mother, God, we are just so grateful for the opportunity to be in service today, be the mouthpiece of you, be the hands and feet of Spirit today. We know that we are love, we are harmony, we are serenity, we are peace, all of those things. And as we step in and assume our spiritual power, all of those wonderful God qualities come forth with amazing grace. We're just so grateful for the opportunity to choose a new thought today, to let go and banish all the thoughts before that are just not serving us any longer. And I know that there is an awakening, there's a quickening, there is a conscious growth that is happening right now in the individuals of everyone who is within the sound of my voice. I know that each person has been implanted with a seed of manifestation and is now coming into full fruition with their acceptance, their full acceptance that today is the day, now is the time, and we are the people. And so I just rest in the knowledge that this has been a transformative time together this morning. This has been a blessing to each and every person, and that there is a surrender to the greatness, to the excellence that is there, the spiritual authority that is right there, standing at the forefront, waiting for us simply to accept it. And we say yes. We say yes to that greater good right now. And so with a grateful heart, I just give great thanks for the opportunity to be of service, to be a blessing, to be in the inspirational field of this wonderful community. The consciousness that is right here, right now is so beautiful. And I just give great thanks to be a part of it. I just let these words go, knowing that as I've declared them, they are done in mind. It is done. And so it is. Amen.
My word can move my soul where I can't imagine, but it is happening. One turn straight down that road could open up the door to so much more. I've been wasting my dreams on hours asleep. This time I believe words are worth saying, dreams are worth claiming. Now, hear me when I speak. And my fear is not real. No, no, it's just another lie, and it cuts me down to size. And I'm here, I am here for the very first time. Yeah, I'm here like I am born again, and the world is opening. I've been wasting my dreams on hours I sleep. This time I believe that words are worth saying, dreams are worth claiming. Now, hear me when I speak. Hear me, oh, and it's the only voice that has changed my life. It's changed my life. It's changed my life. And it declares that happiness is my right. It's my right. My word can move my soul. It moves my soul where I can't imagine, but it is happening. I've been wasting my dreams on hours that I sleep. This time I believe, oh, words are worth saying, dreams are worth claiming. Now, oh, hear me, hear But this time I believe, yeah, their words are worth saying, dreams are worth claiming. Claim it now, hear me when I speak, hear me when I speak, hear me.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Wolf, your board host today. And on behalf of the Unity of Bellevue Board of Trustees, thank you so much for joining us. Well, I don't know about you, but for me today, it just seems like whenever I tune in, which every Sunday, there's something so special and truly speaks to the soul. Thank you for joining us for such beautiful meditation and music and such an inspiring message. If you're new to our community, welcome. Please take a visit out to our website and explore what Unity of Bellevue has to offer. We invite you to connect with us and share with us and let us know how we can help to support you along your spiritual path. For those of us who call Unity of Bellevue our spiritual home, we choose to give as part of our spiritual practice and affirm our own abundance. We are so committed and so powerful in knowing that God shows his good through us and so abundantly. Our financial support expresses our commitment to helping folks awaken to their own spiritual nature and grows a spiritual, thriving community. So we give generously with open hearts to this place where we love, grow, and serve. And on your screen, you're seeing various ways where that you can choose to give to Unity. So we ask you to just listen to that calling. In this consciousness, I invite you to join me as we declare our offering affirmation together. I give freely for the joy of giving. I know that seeds sown in love produce an overflowing harvest of good for me, for this center, and for all people. Lovingly, I give. Joyfully, I receive. And so it is.
And so I just declare a blessing on these gifts. I know that they are given lovingly and joyfully, freely, and from generative hearts. And I consecrate these gifts to the good use of Unity of Bellevue, knowing that we do a great and mighty good in this world by translating money into ministry and by circulating our own tithe. And so I call it all good and I call it all blessed. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, Sharon. I forgot. Monica was waiting for me and I was waiting for Monica, and it was me. I'm the one who's supposed to be talking now. Hi, listen, I made an announcement up front. And I recognize we have way more folks in the room right now. So I just want to make sure that everybody got the message that your Board of Trustees has made the decision to not open our building on August 15th as we had originally planned. I want to remind you that Unity of Bellevue has never been closed. So just keep that in mind. It's not that we're not reopening, it's that our building is not reopening. We have just made the decision that in order to provide the safest and most and to most powerfully live into our responsibility to provide a safe environment for you all, that we are going to delay our opening. We are tentatively targeting September 19th, but don't count on that. It's not signed, sealed, and delivered. Know that, that's something that we're targeting that, and we're going to see what happens with Delta variants and all of that kind of thing. So just know that we're not going to be in our building next Sunday, and I'm sad about that, but I'm also relieved about that. It was feeling like a lot of responsibility to find ways that we could be responsibly in spiritual community with one another. So we're just going to continue to do it online. You guys are amazing. Thanks for sticking it out. I know that it's not the same, but it's all happening in the mind of God. There's only one place this is happening. And as we remember that, we know that the fact that it's not the same doesn't mean anything. We're just present to what is and grateful for the gifts that this moment brings. Thank you, and thanks for all your loving support of this community. Monica has a few more things to tell you. Go ahead, Monica.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Bellevue. We are so glad you are with us. If you are visiting with us for the first time, we invite you to go to our website, unityofbellevue.org. At the bottom of every page is a sign-up form for our weekly e-newsletter. That's the best way to stay in touch with everything that's happening online at Unity of Bellevue. We want to hear from you. We invite you to walk with Unity of Bellevue. We walk forward in your commitment as we release our resistances together. So join us. Our prayer chaplains this morning are Lynn Zeller and Jennifer Holt. They will stay on after service. We're going to take a 3-minute break with some music, and then we'll have a breakout circle, confidential, for praying with you. If you can't stay on, or if you have any other prayer requests that you'd like to send them, you can do that at prayerchaplains@unityofbellevue.org. All of the links, all the emails, everything is in the chat and in the comments on Facebook. Living What Matters meets this Wednesday at 1 p.m. We're working our way through the Book of Soul by Mark Nepo, learning a new spiritual practice each week with Reverend Marla. 1 p.m. online, free drop-in group. So I just heard from somebody that dropped in for the first time this past week, and it was a blessing. So consider joining us. Good Start Back to School Drive is going on. The link for that donation for helping Bellevue families and kids start well at our Bellevue school districts. You can also bring new backpacks. Just email me, let me know when you'd like to drop those off at the building. Men's group meets online this Saturday at 8:30. Zoom link in the chat. It's men's fellowship, support, and discussion around spiritual topics. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. We're going to close with a benediction today. I invite you to take the sacred breath with me as we speak these words with conviction and with deep understanding that we speak words of truth, and the word spoken is indeed the word done. So please join me in our benediction. The heart of the universe beats in me. The mind of the universe thinks through me. The light of the universe illumines me. The grace of the universe remembers me. As I leave this place, God's blessing is upon me and on all that I do, and so it is. Have a great week, everybody. Don't forget to stick around for prayer circle. Thank you, Reverend Sally Robbins, for your inspiring and beautiful message this weekend. Bye, this morning. Bye, everybody.
I got the power, you got the power, we got the power. I got the power, you got the power, we got the power. I got the power, you got the power, we got the power. I got the power, you got the power, we got the power. I've got the power to make all my dreams come true. I've got the power, there's nothing I can't do. I've got the power to be anything I want. I've got the power inside of me. I've got the power inside of me. Every day I'm wasting my time thinking that someone else is gonna do it all for me. I've got to get up, get out, get it, just get started. Take one step towards my destiny. I'll define my direction with clear-cut intention. Declare what will be, and then watch it come to me. 'Cause I've got the power to make all my dreams come true. I've got the power, there's nothing I can't do. try.